Hello everyone, I am Tessellating Hexagons, and yesterday, after some time spent teasing us and dropping little snippets and leaks here and there, we finally got to officially hear the song that will represent Germany at Eurovision this year. And reception has been a little bit mixed, but we'll get to that in just a moment. This year, the artist representing them is one Mr. Jendrik. He said his spirit animal is a seagull. Okay. He owns a ukulele that he glued 4,000 rhinestones to himself. Okay. And his song is called I Don't Feel Hate. It's presented fully in English, and then there's also a couple of spoken lines of German at the end, where people are kind of unsure whether that's going to make it into the live performance or not, because it just sounds like talking like a radio host over the song, but at the same time it really fits the character of the song, so is it going to be in, is it going to be out? We'll just have to see. As far as the lyrics are concerned, it's all in English, and music and lyrics by Jendrik himself, as well as Christoph Oswald. And, what do you say to a song like this? Well, I wrote an entire review, so let's find out what I said! As I already pointed out, Germany really kept us guessing this year, right up to the artist reveal, where there was a fake leak about it being some Schlager singer from the 60s, I think, or possibly even earlier. And then we had the actual artist reveal, that really quirky video, which, that was really sweet and endearing, and I love that. I like that they put so much personality into introducing us to their artist. And even beyond that, as I said, there was a snippet of the song that was released about a week ago, and that got people talking, and then the full track was leaked a day early, and just... So we've got the song now and people are not happy, and that's kind of ironic, all things considered. The thing is, I kept an open mind, and when I heard the initial snippet, I chose to hold on to that open mind. Having heard the song in full, I'm glad I did. As I suspected, this song absolutely slaps and y'all are crazy. I'm not going to belittle people for not liking this song, it's just I think it's a good time. Sure, I'm not a fan of how self-referential and fourth wall breaky it is. I find that sort of thing tends to drag a song down in my experience. But other than that, I actually really enjoy this one, and I seem to be the only person on the planet who does. Well, whatever. I stand by the high personal score I gave to Germany in 2019, so it's not the first time I've had an unpopular opinion about a German entry. Just saying. In the here and now, though, as ever, let's kick off with the good side of things. In this case, the most obvious front and centre thing that you might like is, well, the song's message. Granted, some people have interpreted it a different way, but the main reading that I take from it is a positive one. Specifically, that it's a middle finger to the toxicity that runs rampant in the Eurovision fandom at the moment, especially, for example, in the wake of Norway's national final. This song is an anthem and a rallying call for anyone in the public eye who maybe feels afraid of or downtrodden by trolls, for instance. I totally wouldn't know what that feels like whatsoever, YouTube comments. And what really sells it is that even just in the audio of the song, never mind any other aspect of its presentation, just listening to it with no visuals, you can tell that Jendrik 110% absolutely means every word that he's saying. This is, after all, the sort of message that would collapse in a heartbeat if the singer behind it were just going through the motions. But no, you can tell that Jendrik is absolutely going for maximum kind of knife cat energy, and finding much glee in his own carefreeness. And you know what? I can only stan. Turning our attention to the music for a moment, anyone who's been with my channel for long enough will know what I'm about to say. I love this song's sort of brassy drop hook situation. Brass instruments executed well are a quick and easy way to win my heart, and this song has that in excellent form in spades. Something about how it gels with the lively, wild percussion of the drop too just makes it just sublime. And even outside of that, at the lower energy parts of the song, in quotes, the song is still bop-along toable. Perhaps it's not a bop in the traditional sense as some Eurovision fans may understand it, but it's still something that you can sort of party to. I put the song on and I can't stop to just have a little bit of a time. And it does all of this whilst staying true to Jendrik's personal style, beliefs, and perhaps most importantly of all, his signature ukulele. Long story short, Germany is serving wholehearted, wholesome, all-around good vibes that sound as authentic as they come. I might be the only one saying this, but I am rather impressed. I think you're doing well, Germany. Still, it's always worth your while to consider other points of view, so let's look at what you might not like about this song, because that's just as valid. I'll start with the lightest thing. He's by no means the first Eurovision act for whom this has been relevant, but for as charming as his accent is, it does kind of impede his comprehensibility in some places. Obviously, having an accent is absolutely nothing to be ashamed of, but when the lyrics move as quickly as they do in this sort of song, being able to understand what's being said is kind of important, and there are places where that's a little bit tricky to do in this one. Not a huge deal, but it is something that might impede your engagement nonetheless. Just something to be aware of. Next, the medium-heavy thing that people seem to dislike, just the general levity and atmosphere behind this song. It's very light-hearted, and to some people that can come across as either outright insulting silliness, or a cynical and patronising refusal to take itself or anyone else seriously. While I personally disagree there, I'll at least concede ground on the front that, due to this lightheartedness, he breaks the fourth wall quite a few times. That is, in the second main verse, the lyric about, oh, that's the point of this song, he acknowledges he's singing a song, he acknowledges he's trying to make a point. And the fact that he specifically calls out tap break at the tap break near the end, and also there's the German sort of spoken radio hosty bit, which may or may not be there in the final thing. I do find that self-awareness in songs usually ruins the experience for me, like I said earlier. The levity sort of softens the blow a bit, but I'm still not a fan, so I can understand that. Finally though, there's the big thing. The phrase that I've seen bandied about with regards to this song a lot, too much one might say, is toxic positivity. And while I get where people are coming from in saying that, I really don't think that the people using that phrase actually know what it means. I feel like these people have just seen that one YouTube thumbnail from the video essay about Inside Out, you know the one, and they just assume that they know what it means. No, toxic positivity is when you say stuff like, good vibes only, and then you strictly enforce that. And it's about repressing negativity instead of letting it bleed. It's about denying negativity rather than healing. And this song is definitely not about that. I think instead what people are reacting to is either the aforementioned potentially overpowering levity, or interpreting the message of the song as an active invitation for people to bully him just so that he can demonstrably ignore them as an attempt at virtue signalling. I don't think that's the idea at all whatsoever, but some people have been left with that feeling, and that is worth acknowledging, even though I don't personally agree. It's still a feeling people have, and that's valid. But now, numbers. How bad can I be? Because for the time being, this song gets a personal score of 9 out of 10 from me, and y'all can just deal with it. This song is a fun bop with a great message that in the digital age is more relevant than it has ever been. Yes, man queen, call out the bullies by undermining their strategy. Even putting that aside though, like I said before, I can't not just bop along to this when it's on. Musically, it's great fun, it's got that explosive, brassy drop that I praised earlier. Really, the only things holding it back from the 10 out of 10 kind of level are, for me, those little pockets here and there of self-awareness within the song. Like the stuff I mentioned earlier, for instance, or like the other, like the backing vocals who act as deliberately silly characters that then interact with the lyrics that he interacts back with. As I said, fourth wall breaks just ain't it for me. Other than that though, this song is an absolute time and I am here for it. And hey, if you struggle to deal with other people's opinions and you're still wielding torches and pitchforks, well, congrats on missing the point of the song first of all, but also, this gets a technical 9 out of 10 from me as well. Say what you will, but it is a solid composition, delivered with heart, feeling and sincerity, with a contemporary message that hasn't been run into the ground, and it showcases every aspect of Jendrik's existing personality, which feeds back into making it shine even more. Again, it's not quite a 10 out of 10 due to a couple of little minor details. The main thing is that it can be difficult to keep up with and understand the lyrics in some parts, mainly due to his diction, but there's also the aspect that, to a point, I could understand someone feeling that the song seems like a tiny bit disjointed or too playful with the way that the sections fit together. For me, I think that's the sort of feeling that will dissipate upon repeat listens, but I'm aware that it's something technical that one might feel nonetheless, and at Eurovision you don't get the luxury of repeat listens anyway. Now, though, let's forget about the song for a hot minute and let's talk about the broadcaster and their response to last year's contest being cancelled. Despite what I've heard people saying, my personal understanding of the facts leads me to say that Germany's broadcaster did just fine. To my knowledge, Ben Dolic, their selected singer from last year, didn't submit a song to Germany's selection procedure for the same reason that Ulrika didn't submit a song for the Norwegian selection this year, just a feeling of not having a song up to the same standard as their previous entries. Sure, it was a little harsh of the broadcaster to start from scratch even before that, but from the point of view of that selection process, it kind of makes sense. Strictly speaking, according to the rules of their internal selection vehicle, it was Violent Thing that won, and Ben Dolic was just a vessel that carried it there. If that was enshrined in the rules even before the pandemic hit, then that sort of solidifies it further. And I'm not biased here. Germany was my number 2 out of all of last year's lineup, as you may well recall, but given the rules of Germany's selection procedure, I think what they've come out the other side doing is fair enough. Would have been nice for Ben to have another go, but rules are rules, I guess. But now for the really tricky part. If this song had to face the semi-finals, would it qualify? I think it could go either way. Obviously, Germany is a member of the Big Five, so they have an automatic pass straight into the final. But if they were in the semis, I don't know. For one thing, sure, the fandom have reacted in a hugely negative way to this song, but as we've seen in the past, the loudest parts of the fandom are just that, the loudest, not necessarily the largest, especially in the face of the entire voting public across the continent. Joe Average might not be so cynical when it comes to picking up the phone, and they might end up liking this song's energy or its sense of fun. I mean, think of songs like Malta 2013, or Iceland 2014, or even Norway 2018. They all carried energy very similar to this, and they all qualified and did at least decently when they got to the final. And the juries are another party that could go one of two ways. I suspect it'll be the staging and the running order that ultimately sways them one way or the other on the night, though. After all, for better or for worse, the song leaves an impression and Jendrik sells it really well. If he had to face the semi-finals, I certainly wouldn't count him out. On the night of the final, though, admittedly, I don't expect to see it at the very top of the scoreboard, but I don't expect to see it at the very bottom either. And it's by no means just average, I just think that the extreme negativity from the fandom can expect to be cancelled out by the general public response, but we'll have to wait and see. I respect your opinions, but I do think that if you're convinced this will get nil point and end up in 26th as a consequence, I suggest you revise your opinions. But, you know, I could be mistaken, I'm prepared to eat those words. For now, listen to the song for yourself, let me know how you feel, comments are always open, I'm always listening. Do you think that Germany's underrated this year, or do you have issues with it that I didn't touch upon? I want to hear what you people think. In the meantime though, to Jendrik, I wish you the very best of luck when you hit the stage in Rotterdam, and I hope that you surprise people with how well you do. See you in May.